Our countdown has been laid here in the matchup room, and AriesFireTiger and SeaWalker will be getting things started.
SeaWalker going to take a couple seconds at the start there to actually select start the game, was hovering over the difficulty selection. So early advantage for Aries before we even get underway here in game number 1. Both of them executing the manipulation to get that first Razor Shield and wisely ignoring basically every drop. Looks like Aries is going to go for that foot at the top door. Not the worst play, as there were a couple of enemies up there that the Razor Shield could at least plow into.
So it looks like we're evened up here, about a 41 or 42, about a 43 for SeaWalker. So about a second and a half, maybe 2 second differential heading here into collect power-ups. And an orb right off the bat for Aries.
That is one of the god drops, but not to be outdone, rockets right away for SeaWalker. That will at least hold serve until the next drop comes up.
A foot for both. Aries gets it. There's grenades in the corner, going to leave that behind. And an invulnerability. So this is, apart from one decent drop, everything kind of meh for all the runners here. Although the spreader on Aries' side gonna get him the first in to eat my shrapnel at about a 122.
That could have been a sub 120 for Aries. That last shrapnel just exploded on him right as he was ready to exit the room. No orb yet for SeaWalker, so definite advantage for Aries here. Hopefully SeaWalker can get an orb here inside Eat My Shrapnel. Bit of dangerous moment there for Aries, getting out of the center to take care of the Shraps, and those Swarmers getting dangerously close to his orb, but is able to hang on.
Sometimes it takes a little bit of risky movement here. Oh! Aries gets shrapnel!
He gets tagged by the Shrapnel for Ron. You hate to see that. That is going to cost him the orb going into total carnage.
So about a 209 in, so this at least opens the door a little bit here for SeaWalker. The Rockets should finish off the room here.
Rockets will indeed finish the room. Luckily for Aries, a replacement orb comes not too long after. Still no orb sighted anywhere for SeaWalker. The grenades at least will get rid of the Shraps, but he keeps bat to the head. Bat to the head. SeaWalker riding these rockets all throughout the arena so far. What are orbs? Do they even exist for Ron?
On Aries' side, yeah, but on SeaWalker's side, apparently not.
Aries trying to keep control here. A little erratic with the movement, but doing a pretty admirable job of keeping the orb and keeping the Swarmers under control so far. Now it's Spreader's o'clock for SeaWalker. Just going to have to keep plugging away with weapons. No orb anywhere for SeaWalker yet. Aries takes the death of shame at the end of Total Carnage. And so does SeaWalker! Oh! Both of them losing unnecessary time at the end of the room. Looks like SeaWalker actually got out of Total Carnage. Had a faster room than Aries despite the no orb. The lead has shrunk to about 8 seconds now.
I think Aries tried to use the orb to hit the shrapnel and was a little off on the timing. There's a nuke to start out in the room, and Aries going to take out one of the gunners.
There's an orb for Aries in a very dangerous location. Don't think he's going to be able to get it.
No, the Swarmers were just too close for comfort.
Yeah, SeaWalker's first drop, a foot, and then another foot. At least able to use his invulnerability from death to get rid of the gunners. Some rockets now for Aries.
Oh,
those are the weapons you want. Rockets for SeaWalker as well. Maybe that death a blessing in disguise, because that invulnerability means he's going to get them. And more rockets for SeaWalker, but also more rockets for Aries, who also took an unfortunate death, but that invulnerability means he can get them without issue. great nuke pickup by SeaWalker to clear the room, and more rockets for Aries. Lots of vitamin R here in tank trouble right now, Ferran.
Malk is definitely flowing. A 457 into Mutoid Man for Aries. SeaWalker looks like he's about to finish the room, and will probably be about 15 seconds behind.
About that, Ferran. Yeah, the rockets unfortunately running out for SeaWalker before he could take out those two Shrappies, so that taking him about an extra 4 seconds per to get rid of them.
Oh, and an opening spreader here for SeaWalker. This is the opportunity here to bring it back.
Yeah, this isn't going to get rid of SeaWalker's gunners, but he can at least get a form's worth of damage in there. Aries has gotten a couple spreaders, but they haven't been in good locations. But Aries, very cautiously going for some manual damage, is able to at least pop the chest open before taking an unfortunate game over. Game overs do cost you about 8 seconds over your typical death. SeaWalker, look at him banking those shots off the wall with the lobber. Very creative.
It's what you do with what you got that pays off in the end. And here is, it looks like about a one-form lead now here as Aries popping the head off, chest open on SeaWalker's side.
But look at that, there's a spreader. It's gettable for Aries. Mutoid in a bad spot, but should at least be able to get to the final form with this damage.
Maybe got some transfer damage as well. Was able to pick up the lobber, and
Mutoid
might do it here.
With the movement, staying to the opposite side of the room. Aries missing some of those lobber shots, so is going to need another weapon here. That key is not a weapon, game. Final form now for SeaWalker. It's all about the weapons. There's a lobber for Aries. This will do it.
That did it. He was one shot off.
So Aries, Aries, you have to take care of the shrapnel. The game won't let you out. Kill the shrapnel, Aries! Kill the shrapnel!
Oh, he's waiting for the shrapnel here. Oh my goodness. But that's going to do it at a 7.
Does not cost Aries the win. But tense moments there. Not to be outdone, though, SeaWalker is going to finish Mutoid Man off here. It's going to be about a 16-second victory for AriesFireTiger here in game number 1. I misspoke, sorry, a 26-second victory. So pretty close race there, Ferran. We saw a bit of shenanigans on both sides. That was a pretty entertaining one, for sure.
It definitely was, and it just about held serve to their PBs being about 20 seconds apart. They finished about 22 seconds apart in this one. So, the drops change a little bit. Things certainly could go in a different way. I mean, hopefully Aries now knows, oh yeah, I've got to take out the shrapnel in this room too. I think was already doing the victory walk before crossing over into the end zone.
Yeah, a little overly ambitious there, but Aries is going to take game number 1. And that was a pretty close race overall, so I'm still hoping we go 5. So it's up to SeaWalker to take the next game and turn this thing into a best of 3.
So while Jackamus is going over everything, getting the next countdown together, so we have our round 2 bracket basically set except for this race here. So it's going to be the number 1 seed Brysulf against the 16 seed Grunt. It'll be the 8-9 matchup, Telio 1 against Stormcrow 56. We have the 4 seed Prince Leaf, who won earlier tonight, taking on the 20 seed Oopla. We have the 5 seed, our restreamer, Mr. Dino 023 against the 12 seed Tapatio J. We will have the 2 seed CHX42 taking on the winner of this matchup. We have the 7-10 matchup, Jackamus Wedge against ET Goham. And we have Go on race number 2 as they're in Arena 1. Closing things out, the other 2 matchups, the 3 seed 40 Watt Range, the 14 seed Drumbordus, and the 6 seed Zexy against the 22 seeded Firebroth.
Round 2 looks to be just as exciting, not just on the winner's side, but on the quote-unquote loser's side as well. I think we've got a few entertaining matchups. We'll go over them in between the next 2 games. Uh-oh.
We most certainly will, as heading into collect power-ups is going to be SeaWalker at about a 42 and AriesFireTiger right around that same time. So now a spreader here on AriesFireTiger's side and SeaWalker as well. So things looking pretty similar at the moment here. As rockets now for SeaWalker. AriesFireTiger, though, with that orb and the Razor Shield, going to get him out first at a 122.
Yeah, nice spreader at the end of the room for SeaWalker. At least going to keep this close, about a 128 entry there. But orb, always a huge advantage if one player has it and one does not. SeaWalker needs an orb to drop in this room in order to keep pace.
Well, it's going to get the spreader. A little erratic firing, though.
Yeah, and now dangerous moments for SeaWalker. 4 shrapnels on screen, so SeaWalker already losing a couple of seconds to the overpopulated state of the room. A key is not a weapon game. This is not Kingdom of Farts. Well, 4 spreaders, 4 straps on screen again for SeaWalker here. Has a Razor Shield. Really should just use that to blam into the shrapnels at this point. Last shrapnel explodes, so Aries' lead is going to grow significantly here, especially considering he is well set up here with an orb and a Razor Shield for on.
And the spreader's just spraying damage everywhere. That gets used up. A key is still not a weapon. And now rockets as well. The rich get richer, but Aries loses the orb in the process.
Yeah, maybe got a little scammed on that with all of that Razor Shield still intact, at least at the time there. Unfortunate. But here's an orb now for SeaWalker. Little late game, but it should at least have him try to make up a few seconds here at the end of Total Carnage. It's about a 3:04 entry for Aries into the bonus room.
Oh, and the orb bumps on the right side of those swarmers, but a replacement orb. The game being rather generous, wants to see not another sweep.
Smash TV has known to show mercy once in about 1,000 runs or so.
Give or take.
Yeah, early death for Aries, but at least the invulnerability means that he can focus on getting rid of the gunners. Gets an orb, but unfortunately loses it right away and takes another bat to the head.
Yeah. At least I think that's where you're going with that. Demento?
I'm not really sure where I was going with it. I just kind of was talking. But now SeaWalker set up pretty nice here with an orb early on, gets rid of one of the gunners, dodging his way into the center. He's going to focus, picks up the smart bomb, almost loses the orb but doesn't. So now those gunners are gone, and SeaWalker with the orb, if he can control this, this could be your TSN turning point here in game number 2.
Gotta love a TSN turning point.
Yeah, really great firing with that orb so far for SeaWalker. Aries getting bailed out with a Razor Shield and some rockets. Another nuke for SeaWalker. Aries is going to be the first into the boss room at a 441, but this room is almost done for SeaWalker. At least I thought it was almost done for SeaWalker. Last shrapnel's going to explode, so SeaWalker looking at about a 23-second deficit entering into the boss room. Aries plugging away with the lobber. There's a spreader. It's going to be a tough grab the way Mutoid Man moved, and then Mutoid moved down, denying Aries.
And then an empty drop on top of it. The game wants to see this evened up at 1.
It certainly seems that way right now, Ferran, but an empty drop for SeaWalker. SeaWalker does get rid of his gunners, though, and pops the first arm. Both gunners still alive for Aries, but does also have the first arm popped there. Aries a little bit ahead on damage right now, but there's a spreader for SeaWalker. Aries plugging away with some grenades, and still a gunner left for Aries. Both racers with both arms gone.
Another spreader for
SeaWalker. Like, man, get off of that!
Move!
Hey, I'm walking here. There goes the chest for both runners. Aries a little ahead, still has that gunner to worry about, Ferran. SeaWalker trying to be nifty with the lobber shot again, but Mutoid too far from the wall. Head pops for Aries a bit before SeaWalker. SeaWalker with some lobbers in inventory, out of ammo now. Final form now for Aries, plugging away with grenades. Shouldn't be too much longer here for SeaWalker. This lobber might do it for Aries. Has to hit those shots, though. I know the target's a little smaller. This ammo refill should do it. Final form for SeaWalker.
It does.
Just too little, too late. This last pack of rockets is going to do it for SeaWalker, but Aries is going to take game number 2 with a 7:05. SeaWalker scratching his head, looking at a 7:21, and thinking, oh, what do I have to do to win a match here tonight?
Well, I mean, this is 2 races that have gone an average of 20-second difference, and that matches up with their PBs. So, I mean, this is, maybe it's just that is the skill level that is kind of there. I mean, it has been back and forth. There have been opportunities for SeaWalker to take it, but I think in order for SeaWalker to turn things around, got to have a little bit better tank trouble, and easier said than done, but got to do a little bit better job of keeping the orb once getting it, and hopefully getting it a little bit earlier, which is all on the RNG of the game.
All on the RNG, yeah. SeaWalker, I don't think, has seen an orb in the first 3 rooms yet tonight, Ferran. That has to change if he's going to push this thing further. I'm going to check with our runners and see if we're ready to start match number 3.
Well, meanwhile, I'll take a look at the round 1 bonus bracket matches that'll be forthcoming over the course of the next week or so. We've got the 32 seed Music and Gaming, who will be taking on the 17 seed Akarasi. We have the 25 seed Retrophile taking on Volrath, the 24 seed. We have Mr. Entity, the 29 seed, taking on Scotty, the 13 seed. The 28 seeded Go-Go Zombie will be taking on the 21 seeded Johnny Link. We also have the 31 seed Lick Arcade will be facing the loser of this matchup here. And we already had a first round bonus bracket matchup as I fell last night to Lucha Jim, thus putting me back here in the commentator's booth where I belong. At least some would argue. And then we also have the 30 seed Drex 23 taking on the 19 seed Governator 5. And we have the 27 seeded Aquas taking on the 11 seeded Space Colonizer.
A very ambitious name to be sure, Ferran. I think we do need to go colonize us some space.
Well, with that, Jackamus is providing the countdown in chat, and Game 3 will be underway. We'll see if SeaWalker can stay alive and stave off the move into the bonus bracket, or will AriesFireTiger complete the sweep?
Well, we're going to find out in about 6 minutes and change, Ferran. We are underway with game number 3 of this final 5-game set for the night.
Clocks are synced up here, at least pretty closely. Maybe a couple of milliseconds off, but that's a lot of precision to ask.
We do what we can with what we are given, after all. AriesFireTiger with some good firing is going to be first out of the first room here in game number 3 with a 41. SeaWalker going to exit with about a mid 44. First drop grenades for Aries, and then more grenades. First drop invincibility for SeaWalker, invincibility for Aries now. SeaWalker gets the first primo drop of the room with those rockets. Aries still looking for something better than grenades. Spreader, at least a decent weapon. SeaWalker still riding his rockets. They run out. There's a foot there. SeaWalker not too interested in picking that up. Invulnerability for Aries, and he's going to use that to clear out the rest of the room and escape at 128. Late orb for SeaWalker. At least SeaWalker has an orb in the first couple rooms, about a 6-second difference, but SeaWalker doesn't have to worry about finding that for the upcoming Total Carnage.
Provided, of course, he can keep it. Well, that Razor Shield will certainly help with that.
Razor Shields for both, but still no orb for Aries yet here in game number 3. A foot is not an orb game, nor is it a rocket launcher. SeaWalker comfortably in control of the room. Aries holds serve with what he was given there, will be the first into Total Carnage. SeaWalker using the Razor Shield to kill the final shrapnel. Pretty heads-up play there, but you'd rather do that on one of the earlier shrapnels rather than wait for it to spin around and have to kill it. But what do I know? The game rewarding SeaWalker with another Razor Shield here at the start of Total Carnage. And now a Spreader and rockets. Aries, meanwhile, no orb, grenades. Ferran, we are seeing a complete difference in terms of drop quality so far.
We most certainly are, and who knows, maybe that was some sort of unknown Razor Shield manip in the previous room. Probably not, but it's nice to think that way.
Well, the game does have mercy and does finally give Aries an orb and a few rockets to just get things under control. Aries controlling the center of the room really nicely. SeaWalker a little more, let's say, janky with the movement, but does get some rockets to finish out the room, and more importantly, take out those gunners up in tank trouble. It's a dead heat into the bonus room. Look at that. The applause sign showing up in frame-perfect sync on both sides.
That is amazing, and that gives us a chance for some Taco Bell product placement with Taco Bell.
Chalupa!
And now into tank trouble, practically in stereo here. SeaWalker loses the orb, gets a nuke.
SeaWalker just unfortunately a little inaccurate with those rockets, but the game gives SeaWalker a replacement orb for on, and now more rockets. The rich getting richer, it seems, here.
The game's saying, all right, we can't have 4 sweeps tonight.
It certainly seems that way for Ron. SeaWalker just getting absolutely everything in terms of drops right now. Some rockets for Aries will help, but does get gunned down by the tank. Another nuke for SeaWalker when the screen had a tank and 2 Shrappies on it. Great time. And look at this. SeaWalker is going to finish up this room. Will the Shrap explode? No, it won't. That's going to be about a 446 entry for SeaWalker. And Aries still has to deal with these swarmers at the end of tank trouble. Dangerous times for SeaWalker with the way that swirl exploded, but is able to dodge out. Sees the Spreader and takes the death. He's going to get it for on. This is huge for SeaWalker, who's down 2-0 right now.
Probably abandoned that a little bit early, I think, though.
I think so too, but maybe the idea was to get the other spreader and try to manual it. Mutoid is as far as he can go towards that right wall. Maybe a heads-up play by SeaWalker that didn't work out. Another spreader for SeaWalker, but SeaWalker not employing player 2 strats. His second arm gone, both his gunners down. One arm down for Aries, still one gunner out there. That pesky second gunner has been tormenting Aries all 3 games so far for Ron.
Most certainly has, and now here's a spreader for Aries who's going to manual it and gets zapped.
Oh, Aries did not need that right now. Chest pop for SeaWalker. Pumping some grenades in there, not the best weapon, but if you're not going for bonus damage, it is as good as a lobber to non-critical parts of Mutoid Man. Some more rockets for SeaWalker, rockets for Aries as well, but SeaWalker is going to follow it up with a weapon, whereas Aries only gets a key.
Then a spreader and shrapnel going everywhere, and of course there's an invulnerability.
Of course there is, when you already have one because you died. SeaWalker taking a death, though. This is not over yet. Good spreader for Aries, but Mutoid moving away from the side of the arena to deny the easy manual. But Aries does a good enough job to get the head popped. It's about a 1-form difference here. 2 good weapon clips is all SeaWalker needs to take game number 3 here right now. Just focus on the fire with those rockets. Don't miss with this lobber, and this could be SeaWalker's game here. Aries getting easier weapons to use on the final form.
SeaWalker does it! He stays alive!
SeaWalker is going to take game number 3. There is no sweep. A 724 for SeaWalker.
And a 734, so all told about a 10-second difference. SeaWalker getting the Duke, holding off the sweep, and now has a chance to even it up and force the deciding Game 5.
Real exciting stuff here for On, but to the credit of Aries there, the drops were extremely lopsided in SeaWalker's favor here in game number 3. There's a couple things I think SeaWalker needs to tighten up. Can't rely on the game to bail him out like that again. SeaWalker can just tidy up that movement in the center of the rooms. He could still push this to game 5 without just completely being favored by the game's drops, at least early on in the arena.
Because you know the game, well, it got what it wanted. We didn't get 4 sweeps, so I have a feeling that the RNG is going to be a little bit more even, possibly even favoring the favorite here in Aries. So SeaWalker definitely, as you said, going to have to tighten some things up and, well, do everything possible to even this up.
Exactly, Farhan, and I'm just checking with our racers if we're ready for game number 4 here, and when they are, I will give the countdown and we will be underway. All right, the countdown's been given. We should see them starting things up any moment now.
Good luck.
So there is the countdown. Here is game number 4.
And almost perfectly in sync again. You have to love that. No real need to look at that timer in the top right hand and top left hand corners. Just watch the action, folks, as we get underway in game number 4.
SeaWalker with a couple of straggling swarmers here, as they do tend to wander and make things problematic, but a pretty nice time. Going to probably be about 3/4 of a second, maybe a second behind Aries. Yep, a 41 to a 42. Both great times.
You'll need
Yeah, anything 43 and under is you did your job in the first room for Ron. So now, first drop nuke for Aries. That is not what you'd like to see in this room. The nuke can help you at the end, but early on, it's just slowing down an already fairly slow spawn rate. However, not too much of note dropping for SeaWalker either just yet.
Oh, but there's an orb for Aries. Oh, and a spreader as well.
Aries, and now some spreaders. SeaWalker getting nothing here in collect power-ups. 126 into Eat My Shrapnel for Aries, and SeaWalker has to slowly kill this last shrapnel. It's going to be about a 9-second lead for Aries going into Eat My Shrapnel here in game number 4.
Unlike last game, the game pulling a Caddyshack here on SeaWalker, saying, "You'll get nothing and like it."
It certainly seems that way for Rom. No orb. 4 Shrappies on screen for SeaWalker. Dire times, but there is an orb, but he has already lost a little bit of time compared to Aries, who was able to use that orb from the word go in the room here. 4 Shrappies on screen again. SeaWalker desperately trying to keep things under control. Those Swarmers just giving him the business in their movement right now as well. Aries loses the orb, but is going to use the invulnerability to take control of one of the doors. Gets a new orb, but then gets struck by a bat. SeaWalker entering total carnage with an orb in tow. Could potentially come back here a little bit for Ron. Good pickup of the nuke there. Gets rid of the 3 Shrappies in the room initially, allowing you to control that center much easier. And just to make things even easier, there's a spreader and now a razor shield, but also a razor shield for Aries, who picked up another orb.
And rockets now for SeaWalker.
SeaWalker making use of those rockets very conservatively, waiting for enemies to line up at the door and then fire a single shot and take them all out. That's the glory of rockets. It's maybe the one weapon that you don't necessarily want to just hold your fire button down on. Swirl of shame for Aries here in game number 4. Ouch. And SeaWalker is going to take the lead going into the bonus room after being about 10 seconds behind.
But it's a very slight lead here.
Frames at best, yes.
Yeah, a couple of frames at best, but that gives us time for some Taco Bell product placement with Taco Bell. And
Yo quiero dos cerveza.
And chorito, nacho burrito. Master Tank, what are you doing here?
First drop rockets for SeaWalker, and makes good use of them to get rid of the gunners in the corners. First drop spreader and another spreader for Aries. That'll get rid of his gunners. SeaWalker still has the orb, and the nuke will ensure good placement in the center for SeaWalker.
Oh, loses the orb and sees a little bit of trouble, so hits that nuke.
Yeah, that orb loss was a tough one because you had to dodge the bullets from the tank. Another quick shot from a tank takes out SeaWalker. And now, rockets for Aries and a nuke for both. Both rooms empty, but neither with an orb. A few rockets remaining for Aries going into a spreader. Grenades, not the worst drop in this room because of how high the spawn rate is. There will always be guys in your way, but it's going to be another lead change for Ron. Aries is going to enter the boss room first at 455 to SeaWalker's 459.
But still, 4-second differential.
Yeah, slight advantage to SeaWalker here, who entered with rockets, so at least able to take the gunners out without much hassle early on. But now it's going to come down to who gets the better drops and who can execute. Virtually even here right now. No arms pop for either player. Looks like it's going to be Aries to pop the arm first. SeaWalker runs out of ammunition and gets an empty drop. Aries takes a death, and whatever weapon it is, Utoid Man parks on it. A gift spreader for SeaWalker, but not much invulnerability left to make good use of it. just going to fire normally and pick up the spreader and keep going.
Another spreader here, and Aries tried to manual, got run over.
At least gets the arm off. Oh wow, this is a rare situation where you can get the player 2 spreader. You die and then the spreader shows up. An invulnerability for SeaWalker, that's just icing on the cake. Another invulnerability for on.
Lay it in!
Getting richer here.
And another spreader!
Another spreader, no invulnerability to go with it, but all of a sudden, SeaWalker's 4-second deficit becomes a 2-form lead.
That's another. That was like 2 or 3 spreaders in a row, but it gets shrapnel.
He gets run over, or shrapneled, or both. I don't know. The guy is drunk. Somebody stop this man.
We're running to the final form on SeaWalker's side.
Final form. Got some decent damage in with those grenades. Spreader won't be enough, but this lobber will. SeaWalker just needs to land some shots here. Final form for Aries. It could be quite close here. SeaWalker misses some of the lobber shots. Who's going to go first? It's SeaWalker! We have a game number 5 coming up. A rubber match. Wow!
And this one is going to be close. A few seconds. 7:16 for SeaWalker. A 7:20 for Aries. 4-second differential. And we are going to a deciding game 5.
Oh my, Ferran. Amazing. SeaWalker looked dead in the water after the first 2 games, but has come back to tie it up. Can SeaWalker pull off the reverse sweep? Or will Aries manage to hold on and take this? We are going to find out very, very soon. Ferran, I have to say, this has to be the match of the tournament so far. This has been so much fun to watch.
Yeah, it has been a lot of lead changes. It's definitely up there for sure. This is going the distance for the last match of the first round, and boy, is it is definitely living up to pretty much all the expectations.
I'd say it's I'm speaking in tongues.
We've lost Jacquemus' words, so it may have even exceeded expectations. You're right about that.
I can't help it. I'm just so darn excited for Ron. This has been a treat to watch.
And he just can't hide it. He's about to lose control, and he thinks he likes it. Yeah, that deserved the appropriate amount of silence that was given there.
But I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh, Lord!
Good luck.
So here we go. We're going to Game 5 in Round 1.
Winner take all. The winner will advance. The non-winner, that is called a loser, will move into the second chance bracket. Read losers bracket. Little bit of sabotage for Aries, grenades on the feet, but at least towards the end of the room, and enemies only coming from the upper and right-hand doors. Aries is going to escape with a 42. SeaWalker, with a little bit more trouble, is going to leave with a 45.
You'll need it.
Yep, the winner will move on to the unenviable task of taking on the second-seeded CHX-42. The runner-up will fall into the bonus bracket to take on the 31-seeded Lick Arcade.
Well, you know what, Ferran? I think both of these runners, whoever advances, could at least steal a game from CHX, assuming that the drops favor them. They've both put on quite a show here. Maybe not a clinic, but definitely a show. Drops favoring SeaWalker early on and collect power-ups here. But there's an orb for Aries. We can't have neither player having an orb advantage here in game number 5. It needs to be close all the way through. to live up to everyone's expectations. But oh no, trap in the corner underneath the extra live sign explodes for Aries. So lead shift here. SeaWalker having trouble with the swirl. How did he not die there?
How did he not die? How did he not lose the orb?
I'm at a loss, Ferran. I want to see that one in slow motion, but we can't really do that right now.
That might go into the highlight reel.
I think it has to. Somebody please clip that madness. SeaWalker again having a little trouble keeping all these shrapnels under control. He's going to take the smart bomb, accept the time loss, but at least he doesn't have to worry about the shrappies anymore. And he's still going to get out slightly ahead of Aries, who had that unfortunate shrapnel explosion and collect power-ups. So we still have a very, very tight game number 5 here right now, Ferran.
We most certainly do, and what a dodge there to avoid the shrapnel, but SeaWalker losing the orb got a little too crowded in the middle there.
This is Aries' chance to strike in this decisive game. SeaWalker at least getting a Razor Shield to hold the middle game. If you value fairness, give SeaWalker some rockets or a replacement orb. Keep this thing close.
Nope, gives a foot instead.
But there are lots of people who may enjoy feet Ferran, and we should not judge their preferences.
I wasn't doing anything of the sort. But there is an orb.
Not all jokes are going to be, world beaters. Just saying. Anyway, new orb for SeaWalker. It's going to be Aries out of the room first, and SeaWalker still has some swarmers to clean up. Orb of shame. Whirl of shame, rather, for SeaWalker, but at least the room is almost over. It's going to be about an 11-second deficit. Not impossible with the way drops can happen in the next 2 rooms, but definite advantage for Aries right now.
So heading into tank trouble at about 354. .403 for SeaWalker. So about a 9-second difference in rockets and more rockets here with the orb for Aries. SeaWalker loses the orb, loses his life.
Yeah, things looking quite good for Aries right at this moment, Ferran. There's a Razor Shield for Aries, just has to dodge the bullets and does. Aries set up very nicely here in tank trouble. There are some rockets for SeaWalker, but SeaWalker has his work cut out for him if he's going to even keep serve with Aries here in tank trouble. And just like that, Aries is done. Gonna enter Mutoid Man's room at about a 4:44. Still a few swarmers coming in here for SeaWalker. Dodges the shrapnel like a pro.
Wow.
SeaWalker with a really nice dodge there. Maybe not quite on the level as what we saw happen in the shrapnel room earlier. But yeah, it's about a 20-second lead for Aries going into Mutoid Man's room. SeaWalker does have a good amount of spreader ammunition. If he's really adventurous with it, he could get a form taken off of Mutoid Man at the start of the fight here. He's not going for it though, electing to shoot at the gunners. Not a whole lot going weapons-wise for Aries yet, whereas SeaWalker does have a lobber. Arm pops for Aries. SeaWalker trying to get that second gunner and does. A few more lobber shots here, but still no arm pop. Empty drop for both. Ferran, this is getting real.
It certainly is. Grenades for SeaWalker, lobbers and more lobbers for Aries. Advantage Aries in that regard. Another empty drop for SeaWalker. Not now, game. Not now.
Oh, and SeaWalker walks onto the mine. I don't know if that was intentional or not. If it was a spreader, the potential gamble would have paid off. SeaWalker about a 4.5 behind now. This lobber will help, but Aries also getting a lobber here.
Oh, there's a spreader. But Aries is going to take it last second.
Aries is going to pick it up. Aries is going to try to get some manual in. Aries flirting with disaster. Dodges the shrapnel. Keeps pounding that spreader in. Amazing manual use, Ferran.
and is very close to getting to that final form.
It's looking like it might be Aries able to hold on after going up 2-0 here. Lobber and a refill. Moving on to the final form. Does not make it to the refill, so we'll need another 2 weapon clips. These rockets won't quite do it for Aries. But Aries gets run over. That's not going to help, and Aries isn't going to be able to pick up those grenades. But SeaWalker also taking a death. 2 forms behind right now. Some grenades for Aries and a refill. This might do it for Ron.
Oh, yeah.
And it does.
AriesFireTiger is going to advance by the skin of his teeth and take Game 5 with a 7-22.
Really, really good stuff for Ron. Aries must have been sweating like someone standing on the surface of the sun that entire Game 5 after going out to a commanding 2-0 lead and seeing it become a winner-take-all game number 5. But kudos to Aries. Grace under pressure is able to just hang on and advance here at the top half of the bracket. And SeaWalker, unfortunately, is going to be the loser of tonight's race. I mean, you can't have a race without a winner and a loser, but what a great show from both of our runners here. One of the tightest matches of the tournament so far, and just absolutely entertaining from start to finish.
Oh yeah, this one certainly got away a little bit from SeaWalker, but the differential heading into it was probably on average less than it had to have been within 10 seconds for each match. They were very close, or maybe 15 at most. This one's certainly getting away, but this was a heck of a race from both of our competitors, and a great way to finish out the night as well as the first round of this tournament.